So, knowing what we know about Josh in this episode, which I definitely saw coming a mile away, I don't care. I would still sleep with him. Sue me. And welcome to my Safe Gayven, everybody. Thank you guys for clicking on another video here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. But if this is your first time clicking on one of my videos, hey, how's it going? My name's Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek, and I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So I like to talk about superheroes, I like to talk about comic books, I like to talk about video games, I like to talk about action movies, I like to talk about sci-fi, I like to talk about fantasy, I like to talk about horror, and I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you are interested in, do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, watch for the watch time to the end of this video, like, share, comment, interact on this video for the all gay rhythm. And if you are a regular, if you are a subscriber, if you've been with me for a long time, or you've only been with me for a month or a week, whatever, thank you so much. If you could also do me a favor, hit the like button. It'll help with the YouTube algorithm. Leave comments on the video to let me know what you thought about this episode of She-Hulk. It will also help for the algorithm. That's why I always say, again, watch, like, share, comment, interact for the all gay rhythm. But anyway, let's talk spoilers for episode 7 of She-Hulk. This episode of She-Hulk is called The Retreat, and Jen visits Blonsky's wellness retreat, meets new friends, and gets in touch with her inner She-Hulk. And so, yeah, I'm gonna come out right and say I really did enjoy this episode. I had fun with this episode. There were moments that I smiled. I thought this episode overall was cute. And I liked seeing the character development with regards to Jen embracing and coming to terms with Jennifer Walters versus She-Hulk, because as she mentions in the episode, it's like when she's She-Hulk, she gets all the attention. Everybody wants to be around her. Everybody admires her. Everybody notices her. But when she's just Jen, nobody really gives her the time of day. And she feels terrible about it because she is Jen. She-Hulk is something that happened to her. And yes, she is She-Hulk as well. But at the end of the day, she's just Jen, like it said in one of the other episodes. And I appreciated all of that. Like, I love character moments, I love character stuff, and I love story. However, I will say with regards to this episode, as much as I enjoyed it, and I was watching this episode with a friend of mine because I don't know if you know, and I've only just recently found out about this, but you can do, and I don't know why more apps don't have this, especially with streaming services in the era of COVID and people watching more stuff at home as opposed to going to the movies. But I was watching She-Hulk in a group watch with a friend of mine. We were both watching at the same time. He was at his house, I was at my house, but we had our Disney Pluses connected for group watch. You can do that on Disney Plus. And strangely, Disney Plus is the only app where you can do that. Again, I don't know why, it's weird. You should be able to do that on Netflix, Amazon Prime, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, so after I got off the phone with my friend, I was just like, we both had the same sentiment. We thought the episode was cute, but this is episode 7. There's only 2 episodes left. We don't have time for all this character development. It's like, I love the character development. I love Tatiana Maslany in this role. I love the stuff that they gave us in this episode. But this is an episode that you get for episode 7. If you have another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 episodes. No, there's only 2 episodes left. And then also the thing about this show where I kind of feel like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Like, they're trying to give us standalone lawyer She-Hulk dealing in the life of a normal woman that happens to be a lawyer, that happens to also have superpowers, that doesn't want to be a superhero, and all these other creatures and people in this world, and how the rest of the world, the normal people in this world, is dealing with these supernatural superhero circumstances. But then at the same time, they're trying to tell these standalone stories, but then they're also trying to tell an overarching narrative with She-Hulk. And because there's only 9 episodes, there's not enough time to really develop both. It's either tell the overarching story or tell the singular formulaic one-off episodes. You can't do both unless you do more episodes. Because the shorter the episodes and the shorter the season, the quicker you gotta get to the point, especially considering these episodes are only like 30 minutes each. Maybe if they were an hour each, you can do that, maybe. But even then, based on like the other Disney Plus shows, it's like every single time we do these Disney Plus shows, it's always like, we don't have time for this. We don't have time for this. Let's go. Let's move. What is this episode? Like, I think episode 3, Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's like, we don't have time for this. Now, granted, it took me a little bit longer to get here with regards to She-Hulk, but just like with every other Disney Plus show, I'm just like, keep it, like, what is this episode? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, now, with that said, again, taking that out to cut, because I know there are a lot of people calling She-Hulk trash and it's the worst Disney Plus. Like I said, I did enjoy this episode. I liked this episode. But for this to be in episode 7 of 9, what are we doing? Like, I thought we, like, especially when we got to the, and granted, we are moving the plot a little bit forward, but it only happened at the very end. I mean, with that said, like, especially with the way the last episode ended with the intelligentsia finding out about, like, I thought this episode was like really gonna start dialing down and getting into all of that. And of course, the big elephant in the room, this was once again another episode where Daredevil, Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock did not show up. I know people are gonna be mad at that, but honestly, I was saying from the beginning, I was like, watch, he doesn't show up until, like, I think he's going to show up in the last 2 episodes. The last 2 episodes, episodes 8 and 9, are probably going to be a 2-parter. And that's when he'll probably finally show up. And he won't even show up in the beginning of episode 8. He'll probably show up in, like, the middle of episode 8. And honestly, like, outside of that, I don't really have much else to say about this episode. Like I said, I thought it was cute. It was an enjoyable episode. It's not my favorite of the season so far. But again, this is episode 7 of not, like, we're almost at the end. Like, next week is the penultimate episode. So I feel like there should have been way more setup for this episode. And then the whole Tim Roth thing. And that's also another thing I'm still kind of confused about with regards to this show. And I guess maybe we'll find out later on down the line with regards to the MCU, because everything is set up for something. But I was like, what was the point of introducing Tim Roth's Abomination and bringing him back and to free him from jail if they weren't going to have him in the like, I just knew in my mind that the reason he's in this show is because they're going to use him to set up the Thunderbolts. They're taking him out of jail because he is going to be one of the leading cast members and teammates in the Thunderbolts. Then they announced the Thunderbolts team at D23, and Tim Roth Abomination and Emil Blonsky was nowhere to be in sight. Instead, you got 5 characters with the same, like 5 super soldiers: Bucky, Red Guardian, US Agent, Yelena, and who's the 5th one? And technically Taskmaster too, but at least her powers are somewhat different than everybody else. Like, she's not the typical super soldier that the rest of them are. And then you have Ghost, who actually has more useful powers, different powers than typical just, oh, I'm super strong and I can fight. But then a friend of mine was like, well, maybe it turns out Abomination's gonna go villain again and they gotta stop Abomination. I was like, what are they? There's nothing that the 5 of them could do to stop Abomination. Maybe Ghost, because being intangible, but I was like, yeah, like, they literally all have the same, like, for the most part, when you have a team, a lot of times the teams have different powers, different skill sets, whatever, like, but anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but that's what I thought they were going to do with Emil Blonsky's character. But I'm just like, what are we doing with this character? But yeah, like I said, I don't really have much else to say. That's really it. And, oh, actually, quick Easter egg, She-Hulk is once again being the show. I mean, obviously outside of Miss Marvel, which they did confirm that she is a mutant, but outside of that, but like, She-Hulk is really introducing a lot of mutant elements or Easter eggs in the show. Like, you had the shoes with Cyclops shoes, Wolverine shoes, even the Thing, Fantastic Four, Deadpool shoes, Mr. Immortal, who's also a mutant in the world. You had the reference and Easter egg about Wolverine and the claws. But then also in this episode, the guy that was, I can't think of his name, but the guy that was complaining about being microaggressed as a matador, he's a mutant in the comics. Or I guess technically he's not a mutant, well, because I was going to say, I guess technically he's not a mutant anymore because of the whole Scarlet Witch, no more mutants thing. But they're kind of erasing that in the comics and repowering all the mutants. But we haven't really seen his character since M-Day. But he used to be a mutant in the comics. He's a mutant in the comics, basically. So there's another mutant that they introduced. And they also reference vampires, even though I doubt the guy's actually a vampire because he was in the daylight. There's only one Daywalker, and that's Blade, which who knows what's going to happen with Blade, because that's a whole nother thing with Mahershala Ali being frustrated about the process. I had to get off topic really quick. I don't know if you guys know this, but Blade just lost their director. This is the second director they lost. Bassam Tariq, I think. He's no longer part of the project. Mahershala Ali is reportedly very frustrated with the whole process of Blade. He's frustrated with the script. The script was only 90 pages, and I think a friend of mine told me that in screenwriting, a page is supposed to be like a minute. So a minute per page. So you think 90 minutes, that's a 90-minute movie. That's hella short. So I'm just like, with everything that's going on, especially with Mahershala Ali getting older and all of that, I'm like, it sounds like he might quit pretty soon with the frustrations building with this movie. Like, they still haven't shot this. They announced Blade like 3 or 4 years ago, and they still haven't started shooting this movie. But anyway, the question is, I'm done ranting. What did you guys think about episode 7 of She-Hulk, The Retreat? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you agree with me? Maybe you don't agree with me. Whatever, give me all of your thoughts. Again, like, share, comment, interact on this video for the algorithm. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Also, if you can, hit that thumbs up button and like this video to really help out with the channel. If this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.